Hello everyone and welcome back to MK Gardening. Today we are going to be thinning our tomatoes. As you can see, they are crazy and wild, spilling over the sides, you can't even see inside of them. So we're going to be walking you through how we thin out our tomatoes and the importance of them. So starting right off with why is it important to thin your tomatoes when they get like this? Several reasons, one of which is just being able to harvest and get really abundant fruit from the tomatoes. They need adequate sunlight and airflow. And as you can see, there is not a lot of chance that sunlight is able to get in there. Not a lot of airflow can get in there. And why is that important? Well, it's important because tomatoes are really susceptible, or some tomatoes, Proven Winners varieties have done a really good job of becoming like resistant to a lot of these issues, but tomatoes in general are really susceptible to blight and mildew and like just fungus. There's a lot of different kinds that come from the soil and from the air, and once it starts, it's really difficult to stop it. So you want to be able to allow airflow to completely go in. Kind of my rule of thumb is I want to be able to see through the plant, see onto the other side. That way I know that airflow is going in there. It's drying out the leaves. Whenever there's water on the leaves, the airflow can go in, dry out all that water so that mildew and fungus and blight don't start. Also for sunlight. Clearly, sun cannot reach the interior of this plant. So plants need sun. It needs to be fixed. Again, Proven Winners has really done a really good job of preventing a lot of this stuff with their tomatoes, but we have other non-Proven Winners tomatoes. So our Sun Sugar is not a Proven Winner. So we're going to be working on that today. We're going to show you exactly how we do it. Let's go over some of the tools we're going to be using today. Obviously our Felcos, this is our number one thing that we're going to be using today. We're going to be using our Kangaroo Pop Up Bag. We are going to be using either the light duty or the heavy duty RapiClips. We use these all the time in the garden, especially with that Sun Sugar, because the some of those branches are like growing straight down, so they're going to need to be propped up somehow. So we're going to be doing some magic with these. And then we have a lot of things that we need to harvest. There's tomatoes in there that you can't see because of how thick the foliage is, but there's tomatoes, ripe tomatoes in there. So we're going to be harvesting those. We have other like strawberries and cucumbers and peppers that are ready to harvest too. So we are using our Fiskars garden harvest basket. This thing is like one of my favorite things because it has different little compartments that you can organize your produce in when you are harvesting. So I like to put like the cherry tomatoes, and strawberries in this bed, in this one, and then kind of the bigger things in the other ones. Anyway, so those are the tools that we're going to be using. Let's get into how we're doing this. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is try to raise the canopy of the tomato at the bottom. So that way there's no suckers coming up that can help that fungus and mildew travel up, or insects travel up the plant immediately. So we're going to make sure there's no suckers there, and we really don't want any of the leaves drooping down and touching the soil, because again it just is a streamline straight up for all of that mildew and fungus when everything's wet to just kind of travel up the plant. So we're going to raise the canopy to make sure that the foliage is perpendicular to get the sunlight, but is not drooping down, is not able to touch the soil at all. So that's going to be the first step. And then the second step we're going to do is just try to really take out a bulk of the foliage, leaving some of the branches to be perpendicular to get that sunlight for the plant, but we're going to be taking out a lot of, almost similar to our tree pruning, our fruit tree pruning videos that we've done in the past, not crisscrossing and no competing branches. So really just thinning out everything. Like those tree pruning videos, we're gonna go slow. We're going to not take out too much, but the goal is to take out a bulk of the foliage to make sure that the bulk of the production of fruit is happening at the top of the plant and not necessarily way down here, where it's more susceptible to all of these things. So we want all of it to be up here at the top. But there's a lot of these branches of foliage that we do not need, and it's kind of, the plant is wasting its energy on these branches too. So not only are they not helping, but the plant is wasting energy on them instead of producing fruit. So those are the first couple steps. Raise the canopy, take out the foliage, and then the third step is going to be using those RapiClips to try to secure and strengthen any of the stems. I feel like this is going to be okay. Our sun sugar, I think, is going to be, look at these, like they're all the way down here. So we'll have to figure out what we're going to do with them, if we're going to be keeping these branches. I'll take you along on the journey. Okay, so here we go. Hopefully you'll be able to see in the thick of it. Okay, so we're gonna pause to show you how we lifted the canopy. So now, all of a sudden you can see at the bottom of the plant, there's space in there. We've really cleaned it out. So that's more of the look that you're going for. Now we're going to move on to step 2 and like really choosing which types of foliage we kind of want to keep. We want the more perpendicular ones, and remember, our goal is to get the growth to happen at the top of the plant. So we're going to go in and thin out some of this foliage. Okay, so as you can see, it is so much better. You can see through the middle of the plant. There's a lot of airflow going in. See this low-hanging branch? Not anymore. All right. So we pruned out a lot. I'm going to stop. I'm going to leave more on the top so that there is a lot of perpendicular growth. If we need to come back in, we can thin it out later. But I'm really happy that we can actually see the tomatoes that are growing inside of it. Yay! So the last step for this one is we're going to use some of the RapiClips and really just kind of tighten everything up, make sure everything has a nice strong foundation so it doesn't do anything that's over. This is going to be a beast. And then the garden gem will be done. You couldn't even see that there's another tomato plant in here. Now you can. Now you can. All right, so this is so much better. We're gonna use those RapiClips, wrap them all up, make sure they're nice and sturdy, and then move on to the sun sugar. We staked the best we could to get the branches from stop growing out. I'm sure a lot of you know tomatoes can grow really, really fast. Really fast. And we were gone for a week on vacation, and I think what happened is it just got out of control. And typically you can, when they're little, you can just like weave them back into the cage. Some of these got out of control. But we staked it up as best we can. I'm gonna shear it pretty good on this side, and maybe take off a couple more of these so that there is space here in between the two plants, to try to mitigate any of that leaf foliage happening. So now we're gonna go in and we're going to, you can already see through it quite a bit better, but we're gonna just go through and make sure nothing's crisscrossing. And then we'll call that good. Okay, so this looks a lot better. We cleaned up the middle again, took out some of that middle foliage, tried to make sure that nothing's really growing into the plant. We kind of stopped to make sure we left enough foliage there, you know, but there's a lot of airflow, so hopefully it'll push a lot of the growth up at the top and through these sides. Yeah. So now the very last one is our Good Hearted. This is a compact variety, so it's not going to get much bigger than this. We're just going to clean out the bottom, just raise the bottom a little bit, but it should be okay. And the very last thing we're going to do here is at least harvest what's right. Thank you so much for watching this video. As a reminder, go slow when you're thinning, but hopefully this video helped you learn the steps on what to do to make sure you're actively preventing all of those really common funguses and blights that are susceptible to tomatoes. So if you have any questions, just comment down below. We'll also be linking all of the items that we used today down below as well, because I know a few of you have been asking about what those tools are. So we'll link those down below. We hope that you're having a wonderful Saturday, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye!